Hey, good morning, everybody. How y'all doing? This is Small Biz Doc from the Small Biz Doc YouTube channel. On my way running an errand this morning, heading out to take care of a little bit of business. It's been a minute since I've been on, but that's about to change. I got a whole lot of content to share with you guys, a whole lot of business endeavors we're going through, and we're going to teach you about a lot of those things that are going on, some things in real estate and everything else. So let me tell you a little bit about our channel. Where we discuss marketing, entrepreneurship, and business ownership. Those are the three things that we focus on my channel. We want people to be able to become self-sufficient financially. Sometimes a job isn't enough to get you to the place where you want to be financially, to live the life that you want to live. And that's our goal, to help you get there, whatever it takes, to get you the information, the resources. That's why we always ask for questions. What questions do you have, so we can try to research and find the answers? So one thing that was on my mind today, I was talking to one of my colleagues, well, not a colleague, but another business owner. And we were talking about, wealth and how people acquire it, and what does it really take to acquire wealth, and not just wealth, but just to increase your income and see yourself in a better place financially, so that you can kind of live the life that you want to live, and not just live paycheck to paycheck, or just being a slave to a job, just bringing home enough money to get by. And one of the things that I believe personally are one of the keys to that is having a wealth mentality, or an increased mentality. A lot of people, they don't have the mentality of acquiring wealth, or acquiring large amounts of money. Sometimes it's just beyond their conceptual grasp. So let me explain a little bit about that. Let me talk about three things. Anything that we ever want to achieve or acquire in life starts with a thought. You know what I mean? It starts in the mind. If you want a better job, the first thing that comes to you, to realize that, is your mindset. You tell yourself, I need a better job. I'm not making enough money. Then you begin to implement things to make that come to pass. That's when you start looking for another job, start researching about what other jobs pay and things like that. So it starts with a thought, and it's the same thing with everything in life, honestly. And it's a mentality. So if you want a better relationship, it starts with a thought, because those things are on your mind, and then you start putting into work and putting into fruition those things that you want out of a better relationship, and then you start acting on them. So that's like a law, the law of thought, I call it, the law of thought and increase. So that's the first thing. How do we change our mindset so that we can realize that we can acquire wealth? A lot of people think, oh, well, that's not for me, I'll never do that. And I tell people, don't think like that. If I can do something like that, you can do something like that. A lot of times people see me driving my car, and I'm talking to them, and they say, wow, man, I could never get a car like that. So I tell them, yes, you can, and you can do more than that. But it all comes down to your thought. It all comes down to how you see yourself. If you don't see yourself as acquiring these things, you will never, ever acquire them, because nobody's going to give you anything. It's not going to fall out of the sky, regardless of what a lot of people think. You have to actually begin to think and see yourself as that. Then you have to actually implement ideas and implement strategies to acquire those things. So that's the first thing. It comes with the thought, okay? So now the second step is, okay, I have that thought. No, okay. No, let me step back a little bit. You don't have that thought. So how do you train yourself into having those thoughts and into creating a mindset? Because you start off with a thought, all right? Now that thought has to turn into a mindset where you actually see yourself with those things and getting the things that you want out of life, you know? So how do you get that mindset? You know, a lot of people ask me that. Well, you know, how do I create a mindset of wealth and a mindset of acquiring the things in life that I want? Well, what you have to do, and I'm gonna be transparent here. This is what I did, you know, and I did this many years ago. I kind of looked at my life and I was like, man, I want to change. You know, I don't want to be like working a 9 to 5. You know what I mean? Just barely making it. You know, I see people driving nice cars and you know, taking vacations and having things that I would love to have, but how can I get those? So I realized I had to change my thoughts. So I looked at my life and I looked at my time and things that I did. And, you know, and I consumed a lot of television, you know what I mean? TV shows, you know, like senseless TV shows, you know what I mean? And I'm not knocking that, but that's, and I used to be there, but that's just not me anymore because, you know, 4 hours of TV in the evening, what is that going to get me? And how is that going to benefit me? You know, watching 4 hours of comedy shows or sitcoms, things like that. So, you know, that's one area I changed. The other area, and I'm going to go back to television, but the first thing that changed with me was I spend a lot of time driving, you know, a whole lot of time. And I used to listen to music all the time, listen to the shock jocks on the radio and things like that, you know, on those like hour and a half drives to and from work and things like that. And then, you know, just every time I'm in the car, I pop on the radio, pop on, you know, the shock jocks and see what they're talking about. And, you know, it took me a while to realize, but, you know, that's like kind of, it's like kind of senseless a little bit. I mean, I'm like, how is that benefiting me besides, you know, a little bit of entertainment? How is that stimulating my mind? How is that making me a better person? How is that helping me to get to these goals that I want to get to in my life for financial increase? You know, and it wasn't really doing a darn thing. So the first thing I did for me, you know, and I'm not knocking that stuff, but this is just for me. The first thing was I cut off the radio. You know, I stopped tuning into those radio stations, and what I started doing was listening to audiobooks about wealth, audiobooks about increase, audiobooks about financial management, audiobooks about marketing. You know, and then, you know, shoot, man, I can't remember the last time I really listened to the radio. I don't listen to the radio at all anymore. I'll pop in a podcast, or I'll pop in one of my audiobooks, or I listen to a ton of motivational pages and wealth affirmations and things like that. So that's the one thing I did. The first thing I did was I cut the radio off and I started, you know, putting things on that would stimulate my mind, you know, that would give me knowledge and give me increase in my mind about acquiring the things that I wanted out of life, how to get ideas, you know, how to start a business, you know, how to market your business, things like that. The other thing I did was, like I told you, I turned off the television. I watch a minimal amount of television nowadays. I don't even have cable anymore. I got rid of that. You know, so, but what I do is I do have certain video books that I watch, and certain financial speakers that I watch, and a lot of motivational speakers that I watch. And I listen to those things, and, you know, that's my one of my favorite pastimes. You know, listening to a lot of wealth speakers, a lot of wealth motivators, a lot of people who talk about acquiring wealth and starting your own business and lifestyle, and just staying motivated, being positive. You know, so those are the two things I did. One of the other things that I did, which I really felt helped me immensely, was, you know, when I go to sleep at night, you know, I put on these affirmations that I listen to every night. So, you know, before I doze off to sleep, I'll put on my earbuds, and I'll put my affirmations to talk about, you will be successful, you are wealthy, you know, I see myself having $1 million, you know, you are great. You know, the world is yours to create. You have the power within you to do whatever you decide to do. You can create the life you want. And I listen to those for hours at a time before I doze off to sleep. And what that does is, subliminally, what that does is it transforms your mindset. It transforms your mind. Because you know that what you meditate on is what you will become. You know what I mean? What goes in is what comes out. And I've done that for years now. And I was thinking about that today, this morning, and I was like, wow, looking back, I don't have any desire for those things anymore. And the other thing was, I had my vision board. On my vision board, I had, before I made these changes, I remember I had and I talked to some friends about this. I had my vision board, I had a black Miata convertible. You know what I mean? And I love that car. That was one of my favorite cars. It was a 2020 something, 2018, 19 Miata convertible. And I had that on my vision board, and I was believing that I would get it and things like that, and I just set it aside and, looked at it every once in a while. But then come to pass, a few years later, I had that car. That car came into my possession and I owned it. And I was like, wow, man, this thing really does work. You know what I mean? I'll tell you another example. I could tell you several examples. I'll go 40 years. No, I'm not that old. I'll go about maybe 20 years back. A lot of you know that I'm a musician, and that's one of the areas that I've used to create wealth and things like that. So I remember there was a keyboard out that I wanted, and this keyboard was really expensive, at the time. And I really wanted this keyboard because it could do a lot of things that I wanted to do. It had the sounds that I wanted. So I put it on the vision board. And long story short, I ended up getting this keyboard, but I didn't realize it until I was going through some old papers, from years, many, many years ago. And then I pulled out the picture of the keyboard and one of my older vision boards, and it was on there. And I was like, wow, man, it came to pass. Last thing, one of my dream cars on the way to getting my ultimate dream car was a Jaguar F-Type convertible. I put that on my vision board. 2 years ago, I was able to purchase my Jaguar F-Type convertible that I'm driving today. And I'm like, wow, man, this thing really does work. So I say that to say that, you have to change your thought process. And then what you have to do is you have to change your mentality. Now, thought process and a mentality are two different things. Your thought process is what you think. Your mentality is what you create over time. So that's the two things that I did. One, I changed my thought process and made a decision and implemented that decision. Now to get that mentality, what I had to do was change my mentality over time by listening to these things, by cutting out the things that were not beneficial for me towards the goals that I wanted to reach. And those are the two things that I did that made a great impact on my life. Now, the third thing is actually implementing that. How do you implement it? Okay, you say, okay, Doc, so I changed what I wanted to do. I made a thought. Okay, I want to change my thoughts. I already made that decision. 2, okay, I'm going to gradually change my mindset and create a mindset for success and a mindset for wealth. I'm getting excited just talking about this, because I know it works for a fact. So then you're saying, okay, Doc, I want to change my mindset for success and wealth. So what do I do next? Okay, you purge out all of the things that are not beneficial to your mind and your goals that you want to achieve in life. Okay, what next? Next, you have to write it down. You have to put down specifically what you want, in a vision board or in a journal or whatever. You have to write that down, and you have to look at those things daily, and then ideas will come to you. You'll get ideas from you don't know where, Now, some of these ideas you may not think you can do, but something in your mind will be like, man, that's a good idea. How do I implement it? And you got to act on those ideas, But you don't act recklessly. You have to act calculated, You have to do your research for those things. I know when I first started one of my first business that I started was my Italian ice company. I have an Italian ice gelato company. And, the thought came to me for a while. Many of you know I live in Texas, and it gets hot down here in Texas. And I was like, man, what would be a good business to do, that would be successful, that wouldn't take a whole lot of time, and something that I knew about. Now, I'm from Philadelphia. Philadelphia, Italian ice and gelato is a big thing. So I was like, well, if I could bring that piece of Philadelphia and here and utilize the Italian ice and create a great marketing strategy behind it, I could probably be successful. So that's what I did. I started to plan. I started reaching out to other entities that were in that. I started doing my research. And what I did was I created my own Italian ice company here in Texas. And people didn't know about it, so it took off very well. And I was very successful with it. Now not only did I do that, but I also created a Spanish company called Raspa Patron because I wanted to reach that market. I wanted to reach that market. That's another venue of wealth for me, reaching that market. I love the Spanish culture. I have a whole lot of Spanish friends. So what I did was I created a whole company just for that market, with the flavors that are conducive to their culture, with the character that's conducive to their culture. So what I say that to say this is you have to take an idea and then you have to act on it. Now I'm going to tell you this, nothing comes overnight. It takes time to implement those things. It takes time to build that up. But what you do, once you create that, once you get that thought process, once you know what you want to do, you can do it. You can do it. If I can do it, a little old nappy head boy from Philadelphia, if I can do it, you can do it. All right. So those are 3 things that I gave you. Change your thought process, then change your mentality. Okay. And then, subliminally listen to things that are gonna focus on what you want out of life, and then you act on it. You've got to act on it. So man, I'm excited. Y'all got me excited talking about these things this morning. So I hope you guys have a wonderful day. Just one last thing, like, subscribe, catch the vibe. And you say catch the vibe, I'm talking about catching the vibe of changing your life. Change your life to get what you want. Because, looking around you now, it's kind of crazy, looking at the whole process, how everything is going right now, with the job market, with the pandemic and things like that. So we have to position ourselves into a position where we are financially stable, financially secure, living the life that we want, even though all of these things are going on around us. And I'm so blessed to have made some life changes and made some decisions where even though there's franticness all around me, I can still be stable and I can still be financially secure because of decisions that I have made. So I want you to not make the same decisions that I made, but I want you to be secure in your life, and I want you to live your life the way that you want. Be happy. There's no reason why we can't be happy. I always tell people, live your dreams, man. Live your dreams. Life's too short. Tomorrow is not promised. So I just want to say that. So don't forget, like and subscribe. I got some really good stuff coming up for you guys. And I just want to share that with y'all. And I really do care about y'all. If you have some questions, post your questions. If you have questions about starting a business or about how I started my business and you want some point in the right direction, shoot me your questions, And if this was motivational to you, or if it helped you in any way, just give me a shout out and say, hey Doc, I'm right there, I feel you, I'm in the same place. I just thank you. And let's make this happen together. So anyway, y'all have a great day. It's a Sunday, it's a fun day. Let's make it a Monday day. I just made that up. It's kind of corny though. So anyway, y'all have a great day. Talk to y'all soon. Small Biz Doc out.